What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a very exciting Liverpool transfer news video, and today we are talking about another big talent coming from Red Bull Salzburg in Austria, and this is the same team that of course Erling Haaland went to Dortmund, Minamino went to Liverpool, and it looks like Liverpool are eyeing another fantastic midfielder talent, my fellow Hungarian countryman Dominik Szoboszlai. He is a 19-year-old creative attacking midfielder, and let me know guys, do you think he's good enough to play for Liverpool right now, or do you think that he should wait another 1 or 2 years in his development? And let me know in the comments below, do you want Liverpool to sign him? Of course, leave a like on this video if you enjoy these, and subscribe, turn on the post notifications so you never miss the latest Liverpool and football news updates on this channel. So several big European clubs are interested in Dominik Szoboszlai, and Liverpool are one of the front runners for his signature, because he would be available for only 20-25 million pounds according to some reports coming out from Italy. So I'm very excited about this, because Dominik Szoboszlai is the biggest Hungarian talent right now in this country, and already Dominik Szoboszlai played 8 times for the Hungarian national team, and also he is a brilliant free kick taker and he is a fantastic talent, as I said, but I don't think he's quite 100% ready to play for real Liverpool right now. Maybe in 1 or 2 years. I still think that he has to consistently put in greater goal scoring numbers, but he's playing as a box-to-box midfielder, not as an out-and-out attacking midfielder, so you shouldn't judge him too harshly, maybe on a little bit on his lack of goals. So Dominik Szoboszlai has 2 years left on his contract at Salzburg, so if they want to get a very good offer for him, they need to sell him right now. And Szoboszlai started off his career in Austria at Liefering, where he scored 10 goals in his first season, 6 goals in his second season, and then in that second season he went to Salzburg, I think in January, and after that he scored 5 goals for Salzburg, and before that he scored 6 goals for Liefering. So in his first season he had 10 goals, second season 11 goals. This season though he only has 4 goals in 29 games, which is a little bit concerning considering that Salzburg has been this free scoring team both in the Austrian Bundesliga and in the Champions League. And if you remember, Dominik Szoboszlai had very good games, both home and away, against Liverpool. But as I said, he's playing as a midfielder who doesn't get forward as much as some other players at Salzburg. But now that Salzburg sold Minamino and Haaland in January, I think Szoboszlai would get a more prominent role, a more attacking role. He will be pushed further forward, where he can score more goals hopefully in the rest of the season when the Austrian Bundesliga can be finished. And after that, I think Liverpool should assess whether he's worth 20 million pounds or so in the transfer market. I think he's worth that. I think for 20 million he would be a really good squad player. But the thing is, Liverpool don't really need that kind of midfielder right now, because they already have Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, we already have Minamino. We have enough attacking midfielders, but we are lacking maybe a midfielder who consistently scores 10-15 goals in the Premier League per season. And Szoboszlai right now, as I said, I watched him many times, because he is from Hungary just like I am, so I watched him for the national team. He's a brilliant player, but not at the world-class level where he can score 10-15 goals in the Premier League consistently just yet. One day he can get there, definitely, because he has a brilliant technique, very good shot on him. He is good with his right foot, with his left foot. He can score brilliant free kicks as well. He scored a magnificent free kick for Hungary as well in an international game. I remember that pretty vividly. So he would be a great free kick taker for Liverpool, but maybe in 1 year. I would wait 1 more year to sign Dominik Szoboszlai. But the problem with that is that many clubs are interested in Dominik Szoboszlai. So apparently Dortmund, Arsenal, RB Leipzig are all interested in Szoboszlai, and I think that if Liverpool want to sign him, we should sign him right now in this summer, and maybe broker a deal with Salzburg to keep Dominik Szoboszlai at Salzburg for 1 more year, just on loan, and after that he can come to Liverpool as a much improved player. I think he's still in very early stages of his football development, so he needs to play more, he needs to get tactically more astute as well. What makes this transfer very attractive and very appealing for Liverpool is right now Dominic Szoboszlai's stock is not very high, so we can get him, as I said, for maybe 20-25 million pounds. Already Liverpool have a very good relationship with Salzburg. We have a very mutual respect between the clubs, and Michael Edwards already dealt with the Salzburg previously, signing Minamino. So I think we could get a very good deal on Szoboszlai. And Szoboszlai's potential is sky high. He could be one day worth 70-80 million pounds. So if nothing else, it would be a very good investment for Liverpool to sign Szoboszlai right now and maybe develop him at Liverpool. He wouldn't have to straight away start for Liverpool and play regularly. He would have time to get used to the Liverpool playing style and the new league, the new country, the Premier League, everything. And we have a very good scouting system, so I'm sure that Liverpool scouted Dominic Szoboszlai very extensively. He already has 92 appearances for all teams in all competitions. As a 19-year-old, that's very good that he already played almost 100 games. And at 6'1", he's a very good physically very good tall player. He's a very powerful midfielder. I would love to see Dominic Szoboszlai in my favorite teams, Liverpool's colours, but I'm a little bit biased, you have to be honest, because he's also Hungarian, and I've been dreaming of having a Hungarian player playing for Liverpool for many years. Christian Németh almost made it. He was a youth academy or a youth player, an under-23 player, and he was a top goal scorer. Liverpool won the league with him, but then sadly he didn't make a first team appearance. And yes, Liverpool had some like failed goalkeepers like Bogdan, who conceded from a corner. I remember that quite vividly, and I think it was in the FA Cup, and his career was very short at Liverpool. So I would love to see a Hungarian player come in at Liverpool and be actually a success, play regularly, score goals. Dominic Szoboszlai, I think, would be a very good bargain transfer, and we could maybe set him on for a massive profit in 4 or 5 years once he developed into this great midfielder. But it's all about can Liverpool really develop him if we sign him. I think we can. Jurgen Klopp always makes young players better. Dominic Szoboszlai has this confidence, this little bit of arrogance in him that all big players who are destined for the top have in them, that they just know that they are good enough. So I think Dominic Szoboszlai could hold his own in the Premier League at Liverpool, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Dominic Szoboszlai is very technically gifted. He can shoot with both his right foot, his left foot. He can shoot and score from outside of the box. He can dribble past people. He's a very technical player. He has a good range of passing, both long and short passing, and also he's a very good free kick taker. But the thing is that I wouldn't just sign Dominic Szoboszlai just to have one more midfielder when we already have Naby Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and also Curtis Jones. I have very high hopes for Curtis Jones, and I want Liverpool to give more playing time to Curtis Jones next season, and maybe the rest of this season once we won the league, because of course he's a Scouser, he's Liverpool born and bred. So I would prefer if Liverpool gave Curtis Jones playing time instead of signing Dominic Szoboszlai. As much as I love Szoboszlai and he's Hungarian just like me, I really want Liverpool to develop their own talent, and Curtis Jones could be the next Trent Alexander-Arnold, a Scouser in the team who comes through and develops and becomes a world-class player. I seriously think that Curtis Jones has the potential for that, but also Dominic Szoboszlai, I mean, in my opinion, has the potential to become world-class one day, and for 20 million it would be a bargain if he indeed becomes a world-class player in the future. The Daily Telegraph is reporting that the restart of the Premier League season is expected to be pushed back 1 week from June 12th to June 9th after Premier League players and managers expressed their concerns that major questions needed to be answered over the risks of a return to full contact training and games being played again. So this is, I think, a very, very serious issue, and they still need further discussion, and they need to come up with a plan that is accepted by everyone. And that's very, very difficult because all 20 clubs have different agendas, different priorities for the rest of the season. And Norwich City's sporting director came out and said that, in my opinion, and I quote him, the relegation and the promotion needs to be settled on the pitch and not off the pitch at the green table. A big question we have around restarting is, if it's fine if we restart and 3 teams get relegated, we look at it as though we are only 6 points of 16th place rather than being a lot of points adrift. But if we go down, that's fine, because that's where football should be played. Football should be played on the pitch and not in the boardroom. But the championship has to restart as well and play all their games also. What we could not accept is a situation where we play out all our games, get relegated, but then the championship can't play because we don't even know if the government are going to let them play, and then they automatically promote some teams who haven't finished the season. It's a bit like saying we can't complete the FA Cup, but we are in the quarterfinals, we have beaten a championship top 6 team away, we have beaten 2 Premier League teams away. So does that mean we win the FA Cup then and qualify for Europe? And we all get a medal because the level of games we played were far harder than the other teams left in the quarterfinals? That's a really important sporting point. It needs to be settled on the pitch, both coming up or going down. I agree with his sentiment and his mentality that it needs to be settled on the pitch. But what if the championship can't afford enough tests for all the teams and all the players, all the managers and all the staff? Because there are 23 teams there. That's 24 teams, sorry, in the championship. So there is a lot more teams and also a lot more players, staff, physios, everybody. And also, if the championship can't finish the season and they decide promotion, I mean, how does that affect Norwich City? It doesn't affect them at any way. They either get relegated or stay up based on the results that they will have for the rest of the Premier League season when it resumes. And if they get relegated, they don't have a say in how the championship decides who gets promoted. So I'm a little bit disagreeing with the Norwich City chief executive, even though I get where he's coming from. I think he's just trying to protect his own agenda. And the Premier League owner, who wanted to be anonymous, said that the Premier League faces a summer of chaos if the Premier League season cannot be completed. This is what he said. Nobody knows how to settle things if we don't play again. I still believe no relegation would be the best solution, and we can go with having a 22-team league for one season with Leeds and West Brom coming up. My comment, how on earth would you fit that many games into the season when next season is also in doubt? Next season is also going to be a lot shorter, and you just can't fit that many games into the calendar unless you scrap the FA Cup, you scrap the League Cup, but the English FA won't like that one bit. And the club owner said, whatever happens, relegated teams would sue the Premier League, and that's why I favor no relegation. A majority of clubs in the bottom half of the table wanted relegation to be scrapped if games were going to be played at neutral venues, but the FA denied that. There is no chance of no relegation in the Premier League. There is also no chance of playing at neutral venues at the moment. That's what it looks like. And former Liverpool and Tottenham director of football Damian Comolli actually said what he thinks about the transfer window and how it will change in the summer. Everything will change, he said, and I quote him, we are going to be in a situation we have never been before. The whole football business will be changing. There will be situations where clubs with a little bit of cash will be able to sweep the market by investing in young players. There will be situations where clubs will have no money at all. For the first time on a global scale, we will see clubs swapping players like they have been doing in Italy, with 1 or 2 players going one way and a bit of cash going the other. We will be seeing a lot of loans. I'm convinced about that because clubs looking to save money on their wage bill won't be able to sell players. There will also be an interesting trend with free transfers. The free agents and the top 20 clubs in the world are becoming very hot property because there is no transfer fee attached to their names. Those players will probably be able to maintain the same level of remuneration and maybe even increase it. However, players who are at the end of their contracts this summer, those players in the lower tiers will see their maybe wages decrease significantly. I was talking to an agent in Belgium and he said his players that were worth 30 million pounds in January are now worth 10 million. We are only in May and things are going to go down further. So you can only imagine if you are a good club with some cash, you could actually sweep the market by getting some very good young players at an incredibly discounted price. Having had discussions with clubs in Europe, even the medium-sized ones who are in a good financial position are definitely thinking about seizing this opportunity. Some clubs will see this as a great opportunity to find players. We will see a trend of big clubs signing young players, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the big European clubs spending in excess of 100 million pounds on 5, 6 or 7 players that could be the core of their team for years to come. This is going to happen. The clubs that are prepared for this from a scouting point of view, a squad management point of view, a success planning point of view, who all have cash will be in a position to do it. The days of 100 million pound transfers are gone for 3 seasons, and the first is the availability of cash. For example, the chairman of Brighton and Burnley have come out and said they are forecasting losses of around 50 million pounds. It's not rocket science to understand that that's their whole transfer budget. If they are losing that money, it's either the transfer budget goes out of the window or clubs cover the losses by selling players, but it's a vicious circle because they won't be able to sell. Because who buys them when most of the clubs don't have the cash? The second aspect, which will be interesting, is that there are a few clubs around Europe that are sitting on a lot of cash. If you are a chief executive or an owner of one of those clubs, you have got the PR aspect to worry about. In a time of crisis like this, when there are thousands of people dying and losing their jobs, the economy is going downhill, would it be morally right for a club to go and spend 100 million on a player? I'm not sure it would be the case. The third aspect is that clubs are asking for government bailouts, furloughing staff, asking for tax exemptions, but at the same time, if those clubs are being linked in papers with players, what will the taxman say? Asking for help from the government and then spending 30 million pounds on a player doesn't make sense. Those 3 aspects make the future transfer market both interesting and rigid. I think we are going to see much smaller squad sizes around Europe. The average Premier League squad has 25 players. Does it have to be that big? Clubs may look at having 16, 17, maybe 18 seasoned professionals, and then the rest will be youngsters at even the bigger clubs. Some clubs in Italy have got 35 players in training every day, which is ludicrous. I think we are going to see a massive decline in squad numbers, which in return will help young players in their pathway to the first team. So that's actually a very, very good assessment of what can change in the transfer market, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.